only I did as good a job of lighting as you doing with the camera, James. He's going right behind us here. Guys, we're just going to turn around quickly, and we have to try and make the most of what we can with what lights we have. James, you're going to grab that quickly. So excuse us if it goes dark a little bit. We are under adaptive conditions at the moment. James, actually, let me grab that. I'm going to go around them again. Oh, here's the third one. Awesome, actually. We're not going to go around. We're just going to turn as quick as we can. Oh, 4 of them. Wow. Oh. This is the guy, the black mane. I'm slowly starting to get to know these guys more and more. Here's Mr. T. He's just joined. You see the guy in the foreground? He's got that very quirky mohawk on the forehead. This other guy, he's the male with a blacker mane. And then, yeah.
Are they smelling, Peter?
Yeah, I think they're smelling. Might even be us, huh? Maybe all that lion dung we've got on our tires, yeah. Might be a few smells there. That's interesting. The breeze is coming from us towards them, so it could be something coming from us, or maybe just something from our direction, because that's the way the breeze is going. There we go. Look at those males close again together. The one lying down at the moment, that's Shaka. He's got a slightly redder mane, but we are still going to have to spend a bit of time. It'll take me a while before I can instantly recognize these males. But Mr. T, obviously easy. Guy lying down at the moment with his backside towards us. That guy there, that's T2. I'm sure they're going to follow these other 2 males. Let me just get the game drives out quickly. All stations update. 2 my daughters just joined these other 2 at Central Road Junction, and they're getting mobile now. Looks like they're going to head towards Jida Cutline. Alright, let's stick with them. I'm not quite sure how long we can stay with them. Oops, sorry, James. Guys, again, if the lighting can... Cool, Charles. I'll stay with them as long as I can, unless obviously they're from a tortured. Sorry about... Okay, voyons. Let me just drive first, then I'll talk. Hey. I think what I was saying, we're going to try and stick with them as long as we can. And, oh yeah, I was apologizing for just in case the lighting is a bit tricky. We are going to do the best we can, but to change cameras now will take us as long as it's going to take these guys to leave. This guy is closest to us. This is the guy with a very black mane. Sorry, James, just a quick look at his tail here. This is how we'll recognize him in future. Look at the tail tip, very, very black tuft in it, but that break in it. So old injury, we saw it a while back. That could be one of the ways that we could recognize this guy again. And then we've got the others just walking up the road at the moment. They're close together, consistently bonding with each other. And then the one in the foreground, sort of left-hand side there at the moment, that's Shaka. Have to find some other ways of recognizing him. The very, very first time we saw him, that name came to mind for me. Shaka was probably one of the most fearsome and influential kings, I guess, in the Zulu history. And he was a fearsome and incredible warrior. Dominated most of southern Africa at one stage or another. And this male just brought that name to mind for me the first time we saw him. He had incredible eyes, and again, when we looked at him earlier, keep in mind, he's the one that was lying down with that other male. anyway, I'm rambling on. Basically what I'm saying is that I'm slowly just, some of these characteristics that are emerging with these lions will maybe give them names. Also, as names emerge with the other guides, it's part of the privilege, I guess, or part of the parcel of working in this area, is the names eventually grow from animals' behavior. But since there's not many names yet, we'll start using more and more of these names. Mr. T is widely used. Shaka is a good name. And then also this pride, the Mapocho males, I'll sometimes refer to them to their old name as well. They literally were, and this is no joke, they were called the Spartan pride, or the Sparta pride. And that's actually got to do with where they first started seeing them in the far southern parts of Sabi Sand. There's actually a property called Sparta. So maybe a coincidence, because James, remember the first day we saw these guys? It's actually very classic that James is on this drive again, because the first time I ever saw these lions was the first time James saw them as well. And it was also a time when they killed a cub. And without knowing it, we were saying that these guys remind us of Spartans. They are just such warrior-like lions. They are very, very beautiful and strong and fearsome. I think that's a good way to describe them. And I've seen a lot of wild lions in my life. I've been very lucky to have even done some research on lions in different places, so I've seen a lot of them. And these guys certainly, with a little bit more time, they will grow on me until they're at the top of the list of lions that I can remember. So yeah, we did refer to them as the Spartans just out of their behavior, and it turns out that that used to be what they were called before the name Apocho came along. So I sometimes talk of the Spartans. You might understand why. This one might become Blackbeard. I'm not quite sure if that name works yet. We'll see. James, and then we saw one male that you haven't seen now. Basically, sorry to just, I'm jumping around a lot. I've just got so many thoughts going around in my head. But the four that we're looking at now are the four that we saw the first time.
Yeah.
So we saw these two with the beautiful manes. Remember when you got up to that giraffe, those of you that were with us on the drive will remember as well. We had Shaka off to the side a bit. He fed later. And this guy we're looking at now had the big mane, and he was there as well. And then the other two, Mr. T and T2, they were there as well. They joined sort of sporadically over the next while. But what I was building up to, James, is the other day when we saw all five of these guys together, I saw the fifth guy.
Yeah.
Yes, like he's very spectacular. He's I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say bigger than any of these guys. He's got a mane very similar to the one we're looking at now, but his mane is just that little bit lusher, a little bit darker, and he's got a beautiful white nozzle, something I haven't seen much with, well, not to that extent before with lions. He has a big, beautiful face, and he's a little bit more, I would push him a little bit less, put it that way. If I really had to, I would maybe grab this lion by the tail, if there was life and death involved. But with him, I wouldn't want to try it. So, guys, just to highlight the fact that the fifth male part of this group that some of you wouldn't have seen before, James hasn't seen him yet either. He's very impressive, and I think the name Leonidas is just playing at the back of my head. But we're going to leave that there for now. We'll get to that when we get to know him more. For the moment, we are very lucky, and I can't remember when last I talked so much. I'm talking and talking. I'm sure Sue has got a bunch of questions, and I've just got verbal attack here. We are very lucky. We've got 4 male lions here, one of them looking at us now as I speak. And he's licking his paws. He's going to get up any minute and walk again. But for now, maybe we can fit another question in if there's one, Sue.
I do have a question for you, Peter. Do you remember before our camera crashed earlier in the day, we had a question from Helen and Valerie, pretty much the same question. And Colleen is now saying, can we answer that question? Peter was answering a question about Mr. T when you had to cut away due to technical difficulties. Somebody had asked if Mr. T's mane was due to genetics and wondered if he'd pass it down to his cub.
Oh, yes, of course. I was actually enjoying answering that question this morning as well. Just to reiterate that question from this morning, and then Colleen just reminding us. Mr. T has got a bit of an odd mane. I think it's a combination of his youngish,